Es ist mir eine große Ehre, als Schulleiter dieses Gymnasiums Sie, sehr geehrte Frau Dr. Stessel, hier an unserem Gymnasium begrüßen zu dürfen. Snowflowers. Snowflowers ist an unserer Schule zu einem Synonym geworden. Ein Synonym für das von Ihnen erlittene Schicksal hier in Markkleeberg. Ein Synonym für das Schicksal all jener Frauen, die in Markkleeberg Zwangsarbeit leisten mussten. Und es waren genau 1539. Und schließlich auch als ein Synonym für die Verfolgung und Vernichtung während der Zeit des Nationalsozialismus in Deutschland und Europa.
We have been looking forward to this day since we heard that you, Dr. Stessel, and your daughter, Dr. Schenker, would come to Germany. As the Holocaust survivor, you have been invited to Buchenwald to commemorate the anniversary of the liberation of the former concentration camp, and it is a great pleasure for us to greet you at our school as well. It was in 2000 when the teachers and students first met you and listened to you talking about the dark time you had to survive as a 14-year-old girl imprisoned in one of the satellite camps of Buchenwald in Markkleeberg during the time of National Socialism. It was especially your book, Snowflowers, that deeply moved all those who had taken part in the translation of the English original. Students of different ages, classes and courses worked for almost 2 years helping to create the German version of the book. They were stunned when they read about the cruelties the girls and women in the camp were exposed to. It was almost impossible to find words to express the brutality and ruthlessness which they had to bear. However, we also felt the deep affection which you and your sister had and the comradeship that existed despite all the suffering. May the 8th, 2013 was a very special day for the students and teachers who participated in the project. The translation of the book was finished and students read extracts from it. The audience was touched to the heart by what they experienced, and my teacher told me that it was an unforgettable, highly emotional hour for all those present. Do you remember your mail on that occasion? You wrote, "I was moved when I listened to the tape and heard those soft-speaking students translating my words. I know that it is an emotional experience indeed for the students, their teachers, and all those involved in the translation." The 70th anniversary of the liberation of the Buchenwald concentration camp in 2015 was celebrated with a March of Remembrance in Markkleeberg, which followed the route the prisoners had to walk on the Death March in 1945. Passages from Snowflowers were read out from the German book to remember the fate of those women and girls. You see, your book has not only enriched our history classes, it had also accompanied us in recent years on numerous events. Even last year, when we had an American exchange group from Indiana at our school, the students read passages from your book, in English of course, but also in German. During all these years we have kept in touch with you, and now that you are here in person, we would like to ask you, Dr. Stessel, about your current stay, and we are keen to find out what you would like to tell us.
The Holocaust, the act of inhumanity and height of human greatness. Research in the Holocaust shows how the act of inhumanity and also human greatness in the Holocaust. And in the human greatness, I meant as we were in the camp and we lost our parents, but their teaching remained with us, and we were trying to be close. We made camp families, camp sisters, and we had any survivors we talk, they have an experience that somebody in the working camp. I'm not talking about Auschwitz or the killing. I'm talking about the working camps that Markkleeberg was. And everybody has an experience that some of the German workers did some kind of work. They did something kind for them. Every survivor, if you find. And we establish again, it comes back to our home, to our parents. And what I want to say is the most important things how the home, how parents, how they teach us, showed us the right way. For us it happened, they weren't with us, but their teaching kept us that in the camp we were good to each other. Like I have this story that somebody get an apple and then divided between ours in the hometown, and it's all thanks to our teaching, parents and education. It was not only evil, it was also courage in the camp, so it gives a hope for mankind that well, not only the evil exists, but good things still at the same time exist. The Nazis wanted to dehumanize us. They took away our clothing, cut our hair, they gave us numbers, but we still knew who we were. So we had the inner resistance, which is home and education, that we knew, even so we were numbers, we knew who we were, and among us we behaved and we remained human beings all the time. And this thanks to the education and what we knew from home, the home and the education what we get.
I will now do a quick presentation of our team Spurensuche here at our school. Spurensuche, it's a German word and it means tracing or looking for traces. And this is what we do. Our team concentrates on the history of our hometown during the time of National Socialism. We have existed for about 3 years. We started out in spring of 2015. And we're about 25 people, or maybe a little more by now. The central point of our investigations are the fates of Holocaust victims in our hometown of Markkleeberg, because before us there was only little known about them. So in cooperation with many historians and other partners like the Kulturbahnhof, we were able to determine about 80 names of mostly Jewish victims who lived here in Markkleeberg and died or in some ways also survived the Holocaust. Our first big goal was setting so-called stumbling rocks into the ground in order to honor the victims and sort of give them back an identity, which we actually did in September of last year, and it was a huge achievement for us, and I think that we were all very proud of that achievement. So in order to do that, in order to set the stones, we had to reconstruct the lives of the victims and create a biography for each of them. And our search led us to the Plötzensee Penitentiary, or the concentration camp Terezin, which we visited together with the last living prisoner from Leipzig. Some of us even went to Auschwitz, where we commemorated the 3 members of the Berliner family, who were also from Markkleeberg, who were executed there. The fate of the Berliner family is what I concentrate on, and I will also write a thorough research paper about that. To say a little bit about them, the family consisted of 4 people, 1 mom and 3 kids, and only 1 daughter survived and because she fled to Australia, but the others unfortunately didn't make it and they were all executed at Auschwitz. So their fate is also described on a poster behind me, or if anyone has questions they can also ask me, because I know a little bit about it. Do you have a question?
I just want to mention you did a very tremendous amount of work. Once I wanted to attempt to do this, and I gave up because I saw it was very, very hard. So I know what you did and what you accomplished. It's really a great thing, and it's a very good idea. Writing the book actually influenced me coming to Markkleeberg, because we came down for I had no, I wasn't planning to write the book. We just came here for the dedication of the memorial what we have in Markkleeberg. And I just came as once we were here, and then when I realized that the people didn't know anything about the camp, and it was a teacher who asked if anybody knows about it, so I said, yes, I know, I was there. And then inspired me, I went home and I started to write, and I came back a few times. I looked at the camp again to being inspired, So my visit to Markkleeberg was the birth of my book also on so I know, thank you very much, it's an important. I just tried to see what Jewish families were living here, and as I mentioned, one came back also who was living here, but it was an enormous project, so I cannot handle it.
Well, thank you very much. To get back to the Berliner family, we were actually able to get in contact with the lady that survived, and I think Anya next to me will tell you a little bit about that now or later, whatever you like.
Well, I'm just going to do it right now. So in November of 2016, the probably most seldom incident that can happen to a historian happened to us. As Marlene already mentioned, we are processing the fate of a Jewish family that lived in Markkleeberg during the time of National Socialism. As far as we knew at that time, one daughter and her husband managed to escape from Germany and go to Australia. The initial plan of the family was that once one family member arrived overseas, the others would get permission to follow. That did not work out, as Marlene said. The daughter's name was Gertrude Lubo, and 1.5 years ago, after having combed through the National Archive of Australia, we received the email address of Gertrude's daughter, Beatrice Brühl. Even more surprising, we found out that Gertrude herself was still alive, and at that time she was a woman over 100 years old. I stayed in contact with Beatrice, told her who we were and what we were doing, and she quickly became a very supportive friend of our team and helped us understand her mother's history even better by sending us photos and old letters, which is something very special for us little historians, yes, doing work like that. Later on in spring 2017, Mrs. Lubo sadly passed away, but her daughter did not interrupt the contact with us. She, her husband, and daughter, who actually lives in London now, came to visit Leipzig for Jewish Week in June last year. And once the laying of the stumbling blocks in September came around the corner in fall, Beatrice's granddaughter and her son-in-law joined the ceremonies in Markkleeberg, and they flew in from London. Since then, we actually have not seen each other, but we're still very grateful for that amazing cooperation. We're in contact with people from the other side of the world, and that's something really special. Like seeing you and meeting you here right now reminds me of that. And it makes me happy, and I'm very happy that you're here today. So thank you.
It shows that I mentioned in my speech yesterday how much the Hungarian hurt us. They deported us, and we being hurt, but we still have a strong, tight connection. We even so they weren't kind of us, but this is our homeland, and we have tied to it. Even my daughter, I'm giving her the memories of Hungary and Avoy Santo. So the same thing, but you're connecting these people. They left here, and maybe Germany is not what would be, but they still have this strong, they grew up here, just like for me being with Hungary. I have other problems. They sing my special accent of Hungarian, so I can't forget. They can, but really we have a strong connection for the place we were born, and whatever it happened to us, we still our homeland. So I feel the same thing with these people. They're happy to be in touch and connected. It shows the point that the place, they still have a place in their heart of Germany, and they're happy to be in touch. And This all proves our mental world that we have with it with Hungary. I have so really with the anti-Jewish laws and everything, yet I went back so many times to Hungary. I looked at this house that was once ours and somehow, and also the Hungarian culture. Until I'm alive, I still will be a Hungarian.
I've got a question, because when talking about your history, and you're almost the whole time smiling to us, and I think that's quite impressive, because for me the question is, as a survivor of the unimaginable cruelty of the Holocaust, how do you cope with the feelings, considering the memories, while you're talking about them?
You see, concerning memories, it has two ways to deal with it. You just don't want to deal with it. Like many people don't want to know about, I'm coming back to Hungary, don't want to know about Hungary, don't go back, and for them this completely closed. And some like me, I feel like I have to do something. It hurts some things and I have to do something about. I feel like I'm doing it for myself and for the memory of my parents, that they cannot do much. I just talk to their name, and also my first book was about the town when I was born. So I have all these